So we had to take a quick break, and I want to break up these videos into probably from now on half-hour segments as opposed to hour-long segments, because I recognize the fact that you're probably not going to watch a long video. Most of the time when people play games like this, they're streaming, which is what I'm doing here, where I'm actually broadcasting this live. It's the easiest way for me to capture this, and then I can come back and send you a link to it, and you can watch it at a later time. I am having a weird visual glitch where I can see like shiny all over my body. I don't know if you see that, but it's freaky. But anyway, because I'm streaming, normally people would just run a really long stream. You know, they'd stream for a couple hours, and if they had to take a break in between, that's fine. But they'd, you know, put up a screen that says, I'll be right back, and then they can run to the bathroom and get water or whatever. I don't want to do that because I don't want to give you these incredibly long videos that you feel like you have to watch in one sitting. So I figure what I'll go ahead and do is stream sections at a time, about a half hour, and then you can watch them, and then once it's over, you can move on with your life. Hopefully that'll work out for you. So we're still trying to kill this guy, and he's still an ass. He's gonna, yep, here's his little hiss bodyguards. Honestly, I don't think they're there to make the level harder. I think they're there to make the level easier. I think they're there because they knew that we would need health while dealing with this guy. And the easiest way to give us health is not to give us health, but actually to give us enemies to fight. I think after a while they actually stop spawning in the background, so you don't have to deal with them. Oh, I forgot he shoots me. You know, that thing I was complaining about the whole last time I tried to fight him. I forgot he did that. So last time I tried this, I obviously died. This time I'm hoping for a little bit more success than that. But we'll see. We'll find out. So some of these guys, you'll see they just have a health bar where it's orange, and other ones will have a health bar where it's orange, and then a white bar above that, and that's a shield gauge. That just means that they're like a particularly hard enemy, and that I have to work through their shield before I can even deal damage to their health, which is exactly as much of a pain in the butt as it sounds like, yeah. But the easiest way to get through somebody's shield is to launch shit at them. So it's a good thing that I rely so much on that launch mechanic. I saw a flash of red, which means somebody spawned somewhere around me. Probably. That's what I mean by that red LED starts making you real nervous. You just get real psyched out by it. Every time I see a flash of it, generally it means that somewhere in the level, someone spawned. Throwing things at him, like I said, sometimes it'll make him drop the things that he is trying to throw at me. Sometimes it does nothing at all. Sometimes he hits, sometimes he misses. You kind of got to whittle him down and play it safe, honestly, and be patient. A lot of this game is using the right techniques at the right times, which I am not particularly good about. I tend to get really impatient and frustrated, and I just want to run in and shoot the hell out of him. And that does not work out well for me. Oh, I got near the doorway, and the doorway does damage to me right now, because, like we were talking about, anything hiss-related sometimes does damage to you. I picked up some health there, and I think I lost more health than I picked up. This. Yeah! What do you think of me now, jerkwad? There we go. You don't actually kill him. He runs away. He's an asshole. I love that he looks like he has wings, but that's actually his dress shirt that's come off the back of him. I don't know why he does that. A lot of these enemies...
I have a feeling he'll be back.
A lot of these enemies early on look pretty much
Let's
human.
Stay focused. The hotline should
but
be
as
past
the
the
game
mailroom.
progresses, some of them look weirder and weirder and less human. It's almost like the hiss are like morphing them or like mutating them, kind of. That door just goes into that hallway that I was already in earlier where I got the security card. So there's a lot of places like that where you can kind of like make it easier for yourself to come back later if you do have to come back through this area. I think there's a file down there I got on the first playthrough that I didn't get the second time. So this is a cool room. This is the pneumatic tube system. And like I said, everything's like old electronics, old systems. They're using pneumatic tubes. There's actually kind of a debate in the fandom for this group. Like, do you think pneumatic tubes were put in during the house's construction or at a later date? It's all sorts of weirdness. So this is, we actually picked this up a while ago. It's talking about the floppy disk. So it allows people to telekinetically lift material and throw it a short distance. See Dr. Darling presentation 11.15 for more information, which we'll find later. The background is stolen from a Soviet military base in blank by agents blank and blank with the CIA. The diskette contained launch codes to nuclear missiles believed to be used for use against, I'm betting, the USA. After being returned to America, the diskette began throwing computational hardware at members of the decoding team. An informant at the CIA tipped the Bureau off, and it was requisitioned by the agents the next day. So the CIA actually had this, but the FBC, which is the company I'm in right now, stole it, basically. So Tomasi was the first of this type of enemy, so we got some information on that type of enemy, basically. And if we go to multimedia, these are the audio files that we listened to. America Overnight, that was that weird little radio show, and the reminder about building shifts. I try to go through there and look at all of them just in case I missed something important, so you might see me go back to that screen a lot. So here's another file.
Tomasi.
It's Tomasi's ID. So that's what he looks like. And it's just what he would normally wear from his shirt, basically. This file amuses me to no end.
The situation in Cuba has been evaluated by the relevant authorities. The mysterious illness affecting the staff at the U.S. Embassy in Havana was caused by sonic weaponry in the hands of a foreign power. Numerous personnel have damage to the inner ear, but most are expected to make a full recovery. Of course, the event also damaged their cellular walls, but we can't blame that on some stupid noise gun. Thank God no local doctors examined them first. Honestly, what are the odds an alternate item will show up inside a U.S. embassy? Talk about good luck, huh? So much easier to... Are you still recording this?
Like I said, Tomasi sounds like a bit of an asshole. But that's funny, because that's actually a thing that happened in the real world. Remember, we talked about this when it happened, because I thought it was super cool. There was a bunch of people from the U.S. Embassy in Havana, Cuba, that were, like, attacked by some sonic noise gun. So the argument here is, well, it wasn't really a sonic noise gun. It was some kind of an altered item, paranatural event. And we just said it was a sonic noise gun. But it's so cute that they can do that they can just be like, pull things out of real life that are just so strange and say, but what if the truth is even stranger than what we've argued? What if? So here's another interesting room that's going to change space eventually here. Let's pick up this file and see what it is. Butte supplement. Oh, this is an interesting one. Okay, so this one kind of matters. Some of these do, some of these don't, right? According to their testimony, the agents have been transported from the Butte home to a roadside motel named the Ocean View Motel and Casino and discovered a room key by performing a ritual. See file MOT1. The key opened a door marked with an inverted black pyramid, which they only learned after a lengthy period of trial and error. After pulling another motel cord found inside this room, they were transported to the oldest house. The disappearance of the homeowner and the other locals of Butte have been attributed to the light switch cord. The Ocean View Motel is now known to have many doorways and pathways. Since the occurrence, identical light switch cords to the one found in Butte home have been appearing throughout the oldest house. At the time of writing, blank light cords have been found in the oldest house, located in blank and blank sectors. These all access the Ocean View Motel, though how exactly this link operates is blank, but internal hypotheses center on the Butte AWE as blank. See Dr. Darling Presentation 2.3 for more information. So this is telling you basically that there's these light switches that take you from place to place, which is weird. These agents were at some random place in a house in Butte, Montana, and they pulled a light switch, and it took them here to the oldest house. So this building that I'm actually in right now, we haven't established it yet, but it's called the oldest house. Here's Tomasi's audio file in case you want to hear it again. So this light switch teleports you is basically what it says, right? So this room, I'm just pointing it out, this room's interesting. 3 paintings, no doors other than this one and that one, and of course later on it'll have more than that. So this is hotline security log, not particularly important, basically saying who came in. So trench, trench, custodian, trench, trench, custodian, trench, 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 custodian, trench, custodian, custodian. That's over the course of several months. So basically all it's saying is, like, trench comes in regularly, I guess. I don't really understand why they included this, other than just that he's coming in at all hours. Because it's like 12:45 p.m., 12:13 p.m., 11 p.m., 12:45, 12:45, and all this. And then there's one in there, 3:43 a.m. on October 1st. I think you're supposed to kind of gather from that, like, okay, there's some weirdness going on with trench in this place. I don't understand the purpose of it. I'm sure there is, though. That's the annoying thing about this game. There's always a purpose. So, here's a message from Trench.
Casino. Dream logic. The light switch cord. The door mark. Black pyramid.
So Trench is being cryptic and a douchebag. This says, direct use only, disregarded this policy may result in fatal psychic trauma. So, it's over there. We saw like the zoom in on this area where there's the chair and the hotline, and there is no walkway. So we're gonna have to use the light switch cord. If you read this, it says like, don't use the light switch cord, basically. So I'm gonna pull it, and pull it again, and pull it a third time.
Whoa. Have we been here before?
This is the second coolest part of the game.
I've stayed at a lot of roadside motels across the country, on the road, on the run, under the radar. This feels like all of them, like something recognized from a dream.
So, and they said they could go through the door with the inverted black pyramid. You'll notice the inverted black pyramid is the same symbol that the board uses, so it kind of represents the oldest house on the board, but right now it's locked. And my first thought is, I've stayed in a lot of hotels all across the country too, but none of them look like this, so I don't know about that. So this is our little lobby area. We've got a door back here that we cannot open. It says janitor, which is kind of exciting because we have a janitor in the other building, so maybe he'll be here. So you can't get out the front doors, and it's just like white light. You can't see what's going on, which is kind of frustrating. There's a ladder out there, but like that's all you get. So you can't tell where we are. I really like the tone and lighting in this room though, and when you compare it to like the brutalist architecture of the house, this is almost fucking arts and crafts. Like this is so much nicer. The chairs are like comfortable looking for once. It's just so relaxing. The lights are a little weird. So if we go down this hallway, we've got a bunch of rooms. We've got rooms 225 through 227 or something, and a casino at the end, which we never get through the casino door. But we have a bell here that we can interact with. So let's interact with the bell. We tap it.
Anyone here?
It's still just music, right? So we go down here again, and it's opened the first doorway. So these are all identical rooms. I think the time is like 3:45 in the afternoon. So these rooms are just cheap, shitty little hotel rooms. Now the hotel room, this looks a little bit more familiar. I'm like, oh yeah, I've stayed there. It smells like mothballs. So it doesn't do anything the first time you press it. So let's try again. And you can see now the light changed behind me. It shut the first door and opened the second door. And again, nothing. Exact same hotel room. So let's try it again, and this time look for the light change behind me in the hallway. Yeah, you can see it. So now we're in the third room. And this one has a key on the desk. You pick up the key.
A black pyramid.
It was attached to a black pyramid. I didn't even give you long enough to notice that. If I press this again, it's just going to cycle through those 3 doors again. So this becomes a recurring thing. Every time you come to this building, it's got kind of a 3-door process where there's some challenge or puzzle behind those 3 doors. And I love it. I could spend hours here. It's the second coolest part of the game. The coolest part of the game comes near the very end of the game, and you are going to think it is so cool. So that looks familiar, right? This is the cool thing. I love the fact that they did this. It's a painting of what looks like you and the hotline chamber, and there's a bridge. So I pull the light cord 3 times. Always rules of 3, right? 3 matters. Sure enough, it's that painting. It's become reality. And now there's a bridge between you and the place you want to go. You're exactly where you left when you pulled the switch last, but now the bridge just exists, which I love. So, let's answer the hotline. Severe fate, psychic damage, be damned. It'll be fun. The hotline seashell is a transmitter/bridge. Directors can be call the board / long distance. So now I have to complete the astral plane challenge. Basically, anytime I get one of these powerful objects, whether it's the gun or the telephone or the disc, I'm going to have to complete a challenge in this astral plane. And the pyramid is generally where the board is. Now these little mother somethings are annoying little POSs. So basically, these are unkillable enemies that just run around in a loop and try to hurt me because they're unpleasant. So I can lure one, is the idea, and then run around behind him. And he really, you can see the ground he was on is all chewed up. He fucks shit up. They're called astral spikes, and they're just not good news. They're very bad news. So we'll wait for him to start coming after us, and then we'll run. And he's a lot like the Hiss, in that he does damage when you're around him. So if you're in the vicinity of an astral spike, you're going to take damage. You don't want to go near them. So we're just headed towards the ringing telephone, running and jumping in these big leaps of faith that if I screw up, kill me. No stress, though. No pressure. Well done /dial, director. You can contact us /pass cells in the hotline collectibles menu. We expect compulsive weekly calls. So this, I like this. Before we saw the pyramid, we're literally underneath the pyramid. We're in the astral plane, but like that line from the phone goes straight up to the pyramid that represents the board, which makes sense because the phone is a direct line to the board.
It is a phone.
Oh.
It's an object of power. It doesn't connect to any typical network. A direct line to the astral plane and the board. And my hypothesis is, under the right conditions, to other planes of existence as well.
A director needs a team. My management team. These people know the secrets of the Bureau as well as I do. Some even better. Darling, Tomasi, Salvador, Marshall. Marshall especially, my head of operations.
She's a badass.
She sees right through me.
She's such a badass.
She knows I don't like relying on people. The only person you should fail is yourself. But things change when you become director.
Trench is so angsty. He just has so much angst and drama in his life. Yeah, that looks healthy.
I have it.
So,
the hotline. I can reach Trench. Well, listen to him. He feels more like an echo.
so you saw a bunch of stuff show up on the right there, like obtained.
I need to get back to Emily.
What I can do now is I can open the menu, and if I go to my collectibles section, there's a whole section for the hotline. And basically everything Trench has been saying to me, I can now listen to clearly. So like when I first heard about him, it said something like, control, points, cleanse, and it was like really cut up. But now if I want to listen to the actual audio log, it gives me a detailed version of that audio file. And I can listen to all sorts of things about Trench from Trench's perspective, but I can also listen to the board. So occasionally files will just show up here from the board directly. You are the director now. We expect independence / dependence. You are authority / chosen one. The Bureau / game needs you. It's kind of funny. The game is really self-aware in some ways because it's like, it knows this game. So here we can watch videos, like I said. So if you want to hear more about control points, you can watch a video about Trench talking about control points. And instead of being choppy, it'll be clear. And then multimedia, I don't remember what we got. I guess we got Tomasi or something like that. Oh, we got a Darling presentation, right. So you saw briefly there was a scientist talking about the phone. This is the actual presentation.
Ring. It's
And
Dr. Darling calling.
So cheesy and embarrassing, and I love it so
A
much.
comms department intern heard the hotline ring and picked it up, going against every safety protocol in the manual. She never recovered. And the handful of witnesses required extensive memory repression therapy.
Fatal
It is
psychic damage.
It's an object of power. It doesn't connect to any typical network. A direct line to the astral plane and the board. And my hypothesis is, under the right conditions, to other planes of existence as well. Our very own Ouija board. Only the director can answer it safely, and what he hears is kept classified.
Sexist. Director could be a woman. So they're all like that, which is kind of cool. So the only clip you saw of that was like Trench watching the video, but now you can watch the whole video. And it's the same thing for objects of power and all that stuff. So I really enjoy those. But like I said, if you want to watch it,
when I tell them about you.
you can always go back and find somebody who's uploaded the whole
Is it too
set.
soon to tell Emily? She might be able to help.
Oh snap, what did I say? This room only had 2 exits? Bam! There's a 3rd exit! Of course there is! So I run up this exit, and where the hell am I going to be? Oh, literally in my office. Literally in the director's office. Isn't that convenient? Oakably dokably. So Trench is gone. Blood's still there. That's interesting. I don't think I remember that last time. Whole bunch of blood's still there. And oh, there's a file here. What does the file say? Bureau funding. To all staff, I know there's some concern regarding our operations exceeding the annual budget. So long as we operate within the oldest house, we're obscured from scrutiny in many respects. If our budget demands are not exorbitant to the point of drawing attention, then they will be granted by the U.S. Treasury without question. The FBC is just another line in another spreadsheet that some lowly accountant won't even notice. Their eyes will skip over us as though we weren't even here. The nature of the oldest house allows us certain freedoms in how we operate. Our being here is no accident. Regards, Zachariah Trench. So basically, this one, it's not actually about the finances, right? This is why I love this game so much. He's not telling you that, oh, our budget's great, though that is an interesting fun fact and flavor for the universe. What he's actually saying is that it doesn't matter whether or not their budget's great, as long as it's not so strained just to notice attention, people can't see them. So they were saying that basically this entire division of this government entity, the Federal Bureau of Control, just kind of melds into the background for some reason because they're in the oldest house, which is what he's calling their location. I don't think we've gotten to that part yet, but in a bit, you're going to find out that the oldest house is a little weird. There's a reason that the Federal Bureau of Control lives here. There's a reason that the rooms are moving around. So this just explains what the hotline is, that it's a Bakelite phone, blah, blah, blah. There's no rotary dial on it. It's spontaneously manifested in the director's office, placed on the desk. Director Northmore was the first bureau agent to use it. So basically they're saying that it just showed up one day in the FBC office. One of the directors, Northmore, just kind of had it. So that's cool. So we can go over here to get to Central Executive, and here's a level 4 door I can't open to a room that's covered in Post-its. And yes, that is as interesting as it sounds. I want to get in the room covered in Post-its, man. It's like Post-its are leaking out of the room. Let's see. I think we have another file here. Technological restrictions. Okay, this is a good one. The oldest house imposes certain limitations on our bureau, but by far the most restrictive is the inability to use certain technological instruments. The oldest house does not allow any devices that receive or emit any blank signal. I don't know what. I'm imagining Wi-Fi. I'm not sure. Radio waves are the only transmittable signals in the oldest house, and even those are often unreliable. If the power of collective unconsciousness is taken into account, it could be that certain pieces of technology are too new in the cultural paradigm for the oldest house to assimilate them. I'm filling in the blanks here because I think I know what that means. Similarly, these items have not been known to become receptacles for altered status. Technology might be moving at too fast a pace for I don't know what that one is, to occur. Modern technology tends to disappear and break here, sometimes violently. Blank agents have been injured by cell phones exploding in their pockets while entering the oldest house. So the reason it said no smartphones or smartwatches is because smartphones and smartwatches might explode. The house does not like when things come in that have any kind of Wi-Fi, I'm assuming, technology. It barely allows radio waves. And it's saying that, and because I played the game before, I can kind of extrapolate those blank sentences, certain technology is too new in the cultural paradigm for the oldest house to assimilate them. So the building itself is the reason why we can't have new and shiny things. It's the reason why the coffee makers are old and we're using reel-to-reel tape. There's a reason why this feels like it's set in the 60s or 70s and not in the year 2019. But you will notice sometimes radios work. And they always play kind of weird, interesting music. I have a theory for why that is. I think it has to do with the janitor, who we saw earlier. His name is Ati. He's the guy who told us that we were going to get an interview. I think that he likes the radio, and so the radio the house allows the radio to be played because of him. So I'm just touching the control point to save. And it's telling me in the upper left I have to go speak with Emily. So let's go speak with Emily. And look, she's moved in.
The comms, the hiss. Sorry, you made it. I'm glad.
Emily is excitable.
Let's talk.
Let's have a conversation.
I got the hotline. I can make out what Trench is saying now.
Incredible. What did he say?
He talked about his management team. People who knew the Bureau's secrets. Your boss, Darling. Tomasi, but he's gone. He's gone. Salvador?
He's the head of security.
And Marshall?
Helen Marshall is head of operations. She's tough, ex-CIA. She took her rangers and went to the research sector to secure the HRA production. She hasn't come back.
Someone who could help us. The other sectors. How do I get there?
It's impossible because of the internal lockdown. You can perform a directorial override to lift it, but that can only be done in the maintenance sector. Normally, you take the sector elevator down there. It connects all the sectors, but it won't work while the lockdown is in effect.
We already got past one lockdown.
Maybe I can find a way.
Jesse, look, with no prep, no training, in this extreme situation, you are doing phenomenally well. And all that and the hiss can't seem to affect you. I mean, I would love to run some tests on you. If you agree, that is. We could find out something that would help us.
Tests? I don't know. She might find out about you. But I wouldn't mind understanding more myself.
Okay. If you think it will help.
Great. I'll check the internal documentation for any lockdown bypasses. We need to get these sectors open to locate Darling and Marshall.
And I'll look for a way inside the maintenance sector. The sooner we find one, the sooner I reach this override.
Just look at that building. It's so pretty. I love it so much. It's modeled after the Long Lines building from AT&T, I guess, which is in New York. It's a loose model, but that's kind of where it's inspired by. Brutalist architecture is very love it or hate it, you know? I love it. I think it's very cool. And see, here's the janitor. I tell you, janitor's important. And some of these rooms, so we're seeing a room that we've never been to yet. It's just kind of showing us where we're going next, basically. And it's a cool way of introducing things, but they look so ominous and so deadly, and this particularly looks scary as hell. I was so excited to go here the first time. Yeah. Does that look like you're gonna get killed? Because that, to me, looks like a nuke waiting to go off, or like a missile silo waiting, like it's no good news coming out of that place. So again, I can talk to Emily, and if I want to hear more about anything, I can just grill her on stuff, basically. Origins of the Hiss, the oldest house, Director Trench, Origins of Power, Hedron Residence. So I'm actually going to do the oldest house, because I think this is interesting.
The oldest house. What is it?
This building, the Bureau headquarters, the oldest house, is a shifting place. You've seen it. It transcends its physical limits.
I've been to New York a few times. How didn't I notice this place?
It's an attribute of the building. This is a place of power. The oldest house doesn't like attention, so unless you're purposely trying to find it, you don't, which is perfect for us. The work we do here is essential, but unstable. The Bureau prefers not to be noticed. And we need strong walls to make sure nothing gets out.
So without you, I never would have found the front door.
Okay.
So we can also find out more about the origins of the Hiss, the objects of power, the Hedron resonance amplifiers. They're actually pretty interesting too.
HRA stop you from becoming a Hiss?
I'll play that one.
Wait, it seems that way. I mean, I hadn't even heard of an HRA until a few weeks ago when Dr. Darling started handing them out. Well, I began analyzing mine as soon as I got it.
Of course you did, Em.
It seems to emit a powerful short-range frequency way beyond anything I've ever seen.
Doesn't the timing seem suspicious?
Yes.
I thought that too. Dr. Darling usually likes to unveil his latest breakthrough in big presentations. With these, he just passed them out. Yeah, his behavior makes me wonder what exactly he knew.
So we get the impression that both Darling and Trench are a little bit questionable as shit.
I keep hearing him in my head. Is he a ghost? Haunting me?
I doubt we're talking about a ghost in the traditional sense, but an echo maybe. See, if he was killed by the service weapon, your gun, maybe it's his final thoughts recorded by the bullet in his brain, like a deep space probe sending back data. But that's just a hypothesis on my part. I need the gun to research it. But you better hold on to that given the circumstances.
I think I will. Yeah.
So those are just kind of like interesting backgrounds.
Thanks,
but
Emily.
like I said, you can play this game and you don't have to read into that. You can just play the game without asking questions and it'll be fine. So she generates these reports. So research and records, initial impressions. If I open that one, It's compiled by Emily Pope by order of Jesse Faden. Basically, it's saying, hey, the hiss corrupts control points, altered items, and humans. Any person wearing an HRA is safe. The only exception is Dr. Faden. We don't know why. She seems to be able to cleanse people. So basically, at the behest of you, Emily's making reports on this stuff because she's a scientist, and that's what scientists flip and do, and I love her for it. The world is ending, and she wants to make reports. So this is a new thing, board countermeasures. Basically, this is introducing me to a mechanic that I'm about to go start, which is really very simple, where I can take optional side missions.
Where's it coming from?
And I always try to listen to her little thing, someone singing. I don't hear it.
Sounds like it's coming from the elevator.
Yep, it sure does.
The hiss attacked the power plant.
So let me do this really quick. So these countermeasures, basically, it's opened up a bunch of options in this menu. So it's saying I have abilities now, which means I can get more health, I can get more energy, I can punch people harder, I can throw people further. So I'm stupid. I'm going to throw people further because that's my jam, right? And I'm going to get more health because I am a weakling. And I'm actually going to get even more health because I'm really a weakling. Oh, I don't have enough. Dang. So I could do any one of these. You can see how much it costs to unlock. So it's like 10% melee damage is 1 point. Energy is 1 point. I have 2 points to spend. I'll hold on to it. Astral constructs. So this allows me to change the type of weapon I'm wielding. So I use the same gun the whole game, but the gun has different forms. So it's pretty much like I have different guns. So right now there's only 2 forms. There's one I have, which is kind of like a handgun. And there's Shatter, which is kind of like a shotgun, like a sawed-off. So I can construct Shatter using, like I said, those materials, right? We were talking about how you might gather scrap metal, but in this one you gather memories or readings. In this one, I've gathered readings and memories and what we call source, which is kind of like XP. And I can construct a shotgun alternate weapon type for my gun. So I'm going to go ahead and construct that because I like the shotgun. And then I can put a modification into that gun, which is just kind of a way to level it up. I can also construct personal modifications, but they're random. So it's like a random weapon mod, a random personal mod. And like you saw, those are accessed through my menu to figure out. So the last thing is board countermeasures. I can accept basically long-term quests. So it's saying kill people in the executive sector with headshots, and I will give you a personal mod. Kill demolition experts, and I'll give you this. So I like just taking a couple. Generally, whatever seems easy. If I don't like these, I can abandon them and it'll pop up a new one. But the researchers behind me are having an interesting conversation. They said, what power do we use? And then they said it has to be a nuclear generator. And let's listen to them. Oh, is that it's over? They were saying that it has to be a nuclear. It's the NCS, NSC, which was that power plant we saw. They think it has to be a nuclear reactor.
Meet me in the main Denanas.
So my strange janitor friend wants me to come to maintenance. Okie doke, I can do that. So all I can get to on the elevator right now is executive, where I am, and maintenance.
Like I said
That's
before,
fine.
The janitor is a friendly face.
So the load times in this game are a little long, I will admit. It can get a little bit dull. Normally, I end up using my free weights or on my little stair stepper thing for a bit here. I actually got really good at using the stair stepper while playing this game, just because I shouldn't be sitting still for that long. So I might as well, if I'm going to be doing something like playing a video game, use my stair stepper while I do it. It's good for my legs. But yeah, the load times can be prohibitive sometimes. I'm just like, oh, my legs hurt. I want to be done. I think what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'll find the next control point here, and we'll call this
The maintenance sector is
end
the janitor
of this
domain.
broadcast.
If I can find Ati here, he can help me reach the override. Maybe it was you who got me into the oldest house with the lockdown on. Maybe it was Ati. It felt like he made the elevator appear that took me to Trench's office.
Absolutely did. I am
Is
positive
Ati
on that.
guiding me too?
Ahti's a good guy. Ahti just wants the best for the oldest house and everyone in it. So, this is the new area. See, there's a level 2 room here, and I don't have a level 2 key code, so I have to come back. It does a lot of that where you'll have to go back over your path several times to unlock everything. So that...
The directorial override is right there, in the control room.
Yep.
How do we get there?
And you can already see that there's enemies hovering in midair, waiting for me to show up into that room. This glass is unbreakable. Some glass I can shatter, but if you see this screening, this mesh in it, it generally means it's unbreakable glass. Now, having said that, I know for a fact that there's a cool game-breaking glitch that you can do around there to get into that room real early. But I think that only works on the computer, not on the PS4. So I'm not going to try it. It takes too long. I don't want to play the game fast. I want to play the game fun and well. So normally when you see these control points and they're all red like that, it means that there's going to be more than one wave of enemies for me to take out. Which I should have anticipated and, you know, had better cover when the first wave was down. But I'm lazy. So here you can see, we're seeing that square. It's like an infestation of perfect cubes, and some of them are actually floating, it looks like. And once I cleanse the control point, they're gonna go away. Which is just the coolest. Yeah. And I love that they come out and the pipes are what's in there. So it still has this very vertical, like, non-organic feeling. Still feels very industrial, but now it's a different type of industrial. Now it's almost like, I don't know, the piping reminds me of veins or an aorta or something. So, we've unlocked this control point, and we're going to call this good. I can go ahead and I can always make more astral constructs, but I don't really care. By accessing the control point, like I said, I saved. So, the janitor's office is down the hallway to my right, and I will save that for next time. You can see me go say hi to Ahti, and see more about what he meant by my interview. Like, seemed like he cared about the fact that I was interviewing for a janitor's assistant position, and how does that work? Well, in my opinion, I think the director is the janitor's assistant in this game. So, we'll see how that works. Anyway, I hope you guys had fun listening. I hope some of this made sense, and I didn't talk too fast, and you followed it, and I didn't go over the same things too often. So, I love you, Mom, and if you're not my mom, I love you guys too. Everybody have a wonderful night, and thank you.